Hi guys, very warm welcome, and I hope you can hear me alright. Just picked up the DJ mic and it was flat, so there may be a better wind noise on the camera there, or you might not be able to hear me too well. Warm welcome being the prime word, I should say, there in that sentence, because it's 9th of January, so we're just entering our third week of winter. Winter's 3 months in the northern hemisphere. So starts the 21st of December, we're now on the 9th of January, and temperature currently 21 degrees, quite pleasant, not cold, and we've got a sunny few days coming up for the weekend, 2021, 22 degrees on Saturday I believe, with a low of about 11, so that's quite spring-like. So got in from work, no chance to jump in the shower yet, but I looked at the weather coming back in the van and I thought, yep, get your keys and get down and get an helmet on and a jacket and go for a quick toodle on the DS900. So that's what I'm going to do, guys. So hopefully if I can get some power into this mic via a cable to the USB, I'll chat a bit on the bike about the way things are going in Spain and life in general. So guys, some interesting features on the DS900. As you all know, we've got the dual socket this side, we've got a standard Type A USB and we've got a Type C, and we've got a cigarette lighter style the other side. And as I just said, I've come out and the DJ mic is flat, so I've plugged it into the Type C via a Type C cable to the microphone, and it's working fine. It's popped on, it's getting charged. I wasn't sure if it'd work while it was charging, but obviously as long as it's getting power it seems to be fine. So yeah, like I said, stunning day. Currently showing 20 on the bike, averaging 20-21. One thing I do notice a lot on the DSX, and I'm sure you guys that own the DSX will find the same thing, is the variance in the tyre pressure. Now this obviously equates to warm tyres and cold tyres, but what I've often found is that it's showing 2.3 bar on both tyres now, and obviously the tyres are cold, I've only just set off, and once it warms up they'll go up to about 2.5 and maybe 2.6. But what I find generally is if I put them back to 2.5 when they're cold, 2.5 and 2.7 maybe on the rear, especially if I'm taking my wife out, they tend to drop back down again. So whether they're actually losing a bit of pressure, which isn't uncommon, you can lose pressure in tyres as you're riding, hence the reason we all should check our tyre pressures regularly in case we're riding on underinflated tyres, etc. Yeah, so most of the internet and the chatter at the moment now, especially on Facebook, seems to be that most people have got the 4.7 update either via their local dealership or obviously via links I've shared and other people have shared, and I've still got a copy of the link if anybody wants it, so I can share it over. I got one message this morning that came through on YouTube, and the message was, Paul, do you know how to recover from an interrupted software update with the black screen? So obviously what this guy's done, or what's happened to this guy, I'm assuming, is that he started to do the 4.7 update, and for some reason the power's gone out on his bike and during the update, and he's ended up with a black screen. Obviously you can still start your bike with the black screen, but you've got no screen on the bike. Suggested disconnecting the battery, see if we can get anything up on the head up, and then reinstall the update if you can. But as many of you guys know from the later updates, the 4.4 update, the bike didn't go into energy saving shutdown mode. Now when we had 4.1, when we first got these bikes back in April, on 4.1 if you put the ignition on and just had the ignition on, the lights would come on the front of the bike and the rear light would come on. Then after a certain period, maybe about 30 seconds, I can't remember what it was to be honest, the ignition would turn itself off. So it's a battery saving feature. If you leave your bike parked with the ignition on, after a set period of time it turned off. Now I know from the 4.4 update and onward that people were able then to update their bikes actually just having the ignition on and not having the bike started. Now what I suggested, even because I was quite aware of that with 4.1, what I've suggested that people do is get everything sorted out, get your Wi-Fi connection sorted out, get the software on your phone, and then at the point where you're going to connect and you're connected by the Wi-Fi hotspot to your bike, at that point I would suggest you have the bike running. Now it's not, you don't need to do that, but to my mind, if the bike's running, there's less chance of anything failing. So that's just a tip. It's not set in stone, you don't have to go down that route, but I've done it every single time. And the reason I've done it every time is that, if you remember way back, maybe in late April, May, when I did the video of the throttle mod, which is still really useful now, I occasionally do, and it does iron out a few bugs. When I did the original throttle mod, when I actually done the throttle mod and it was working fine, but when I did the tutorial video, a couple of you guys noticed that after you wait the 30 seconds when you throttle back off, and then you turn the ignition off and you restart the bike, mine was turning off before that period of time. It did it on the video. If you look carefully, you'll notice, and a few people did comment that his bike had started on its own. Well, it shut down on its own, to be honest. So since then I was always a bit dubious of doing anything without actually having the motor running. Again, not much I can tell you new wise. I know that once you get over 4,000 kilometers on this particular bike, it really starts to bed in. It's a lot better, and with a 4.7 update and sports mode like I'm in now, it really does go well. The gear change, everything's better. I'll try the upshift on the auto clipper, nice down to fourth, really smooth, and we'll try the downshift. And even the downshift's a lot smoother than it used to be. It's something I don't use all the time. I'm pretty much old school, to be honest, but if you want it, it's there. And like I say, this bike was shoved out on the market to basically a shed load of beta testers who went through the original foibles of the bike, and mine's still, when I just changed up into fifth then from fourth, and it's always done it on my bike. I don't know why it should be, but the odd time when I go quick shift from fourth to fifth, it'll feel like it's quick shifted, and then it'll false neutral and rev, and it'll go back into fourth, and I have to tap it again. So that's one thing with a quick shifter that's put me off using it all the time. I'm acutely aware that anything that's going to be like that, it's not going to be too good for the gearbox, so I tend to be pretty much old school. If I'm caning it and I'm in sports, I'll use the quick shifter, but 99% of the time I'll just use the clutch shift and change. Yeah, so like I said earlier as I was walking down, temperatures are going to get to 21 or 22 degrees on Saturday, so a really nice weekend to be out and riding. So we'll probably meet up with a couple of our friends and have a ride out. One thing you do notice after a while on the DSX, when you first get it, you notice it's a big heavy bike and it's quite tall. After having the Voge 300 Rally, I jump on it now and think, wow, it's quite a low down bike this. Both feet are flat on the ground, and it is quite low, to be honest. It's not a high seat height at all, it's very manageable. So yeah, the foibles of the bike you get used to. We've got around a lot of them with software updates, and it's still a cracking bike for the money. You really can't buy anything for this sort of money, to be honest. One guy's pointed out on my YouTube page that they are doing the MT touring in the UK on a discount. I should imagine that's getting rid of the 2024 models they've still got, and there was also some speculation that the 25 model would probably come in around 8 grand. But again, that's it's cheap, but it's not as cheap as this bike is, nowhere near it. Maybe for UK buyers, because the bike comes with the luggage in the UK, so there's no basic bike price. You buy the bike and you get the 3 set luggage with it. Whereas in Spain we had the option here to buy the bike as the bike without the luggage for €8,888, which is under the £8,000 mark. So yeah, prices vary drastically in the UK to what they do here. The KTM thing has really damaged the CF Moto sales for the KTM engined bikes, not so much the 450 MT. The waiting list for the 450 MT seems to be strong, and people are buying it in droves. It's a good little bike. One guy that I know on YouTube, the Lone Wolf, you may have seen him, he's done a lot of mods to his CF Moto 850 MT Explore. Really nice looking bike, and he'd made quite a sad video a couple of days ago saying that he'd finally had enough and he couldn't get around the jerkiness on the bike, and he's decided to sell it and maybe move on to something else. I don't know what direction he'll go, but wishing him all the best, and hope he finds the bike that's going to suit him. But the problem we're going to get, guys, and it's going to be more prevalent the more emissions restrictions we get, are ride-by-wire bikes. Now, ride-by-wire bikes, you would think they would ride smoother and nicer than a cable accelerator, but unfortunately they don't, and I don't know why that should be. It seems to be right across the board. It's not just this particular model when it first came out having snatchy throttle. It's also all the KTMs, all the BMWs that are the twin series, not the Boxer series. They're all known for having a snatchy throttle and jerkiness on the ride-by-wire Bosch system that they've got. Hopefully when tuners get onto these bikes and they start tuning themselves, we'll get different mapping in the future. Of course, with that then you get the added worry of warranty claims and not running the bike on a standard map. So yeah, it's pretty convoluted, but what you've got to do, you've got to give all praise to Voge for getting these software updates out. Okay, initially they're just for the Chinese market. We get the APK and the update video showing you how to do that, and we can manage to do it ourselves, albeit at a risk. Everything where you upload software to any device, whether it be your bike or your mobile phone, you're taking a risk. So yeah, someone's asked me, you know, why don't people wait for main dealers to do the software updates? And the obvious answer is that most main dealers don't want to do the software updates. When you look at the logistics of it, this particular bike, the Voge 900, the DS900X, is the second highest selling bike of 2024 in Spain. Bearing in mind people didn't get their hands on it till the April or the May, and it sold something like throughout 2024 about 2,500 units here in Spain. Now the bike that beat that, and you may not think it would be for the price point, was actually the BMW 1300 GS, the basic GS, but the new 1300 model, and that beat it by some 100 bikes, so not much, but it sold a few more. And then the rest of the most popular bikes are way down the list in sale numbers. So this bike has sold in shed loads here in Spain, and they are becoming available now second hand. People are not prepared to drop the price because you still have to order these from the main dealer to be delivered at a later date, so they come in batches into the country and in the rest of Europe. So people now are waiting for their bikes to come in February, and those bikes are going to be mapped for the 2025 Euro 5 Plus update. How they're going to be, I don't know. I've not heard of anybody who's got the Euro 5 Plus bike yet. The same bike, exactly the same bike, different mapping, with the addition of, I believe, cornering ABS. That was mentioned in some blurb that I read. Now, for me, I'm not really fussed for cornering ABS. The ABS on this works fine. I like to feel what I'm doing in the corners. Okay, the back end can move a bit on sand or a bit of shale on the standard tyres that are on the bike, but I wouldn't want any intrusive ABS, certainly when I was cornering, to anchor on. Most riders who are well seasoned would know surely not to anchor on really sharply during a bend, so much so that they'd lock the rear wheel. Most of us know that we can trail brake on the back throughout a bend. We can use a front brake coming into a bend, and you can use it in a bend if you use it correctly, slightly, only slight progressive power, not snatching a handful obviously. So yeah, going to be a good feature for those novice riders who are more likely to hit the brake going into a bend, especially the rear, and lock up the rear brake, but very few and far between the guys that are going to actually do that. So I've got no thoughts whatsoever about changing this bike. My wife actually loves it to bits. On the few cold mornings that we've had and I've been out and rode it, it's been stunning with the heated seat and heated grips. There's been no problems to date on the bike, no recalls that I know of. And that's testament to the bike. You get recalls on new BMWs, you get recalls on Triumphs, KTMs, all top brands get recalls, but this, touch wood, I'm in coming up to 9 months with the bike now, and nothing. It's been faultless apart from having to do the updates ourselves. And like I said before, all kudos to Voge for getting them updates out one way or another. So, waffly video. I'm really enjoying the Voge 300 Rally. That's been an amazing bike for getting down tracks that I never would have gone down. Now I've been down a few of them, I certainly would go down on this, the 900 DSX. Some of them aren't too bad, some of them are very rusty and washed out, but this with a decent set of tyres on would handle it. The only drawback you've got, if you put this on the floor, it's a pig to get up. I've only ever had it over once in sand, and it wasn't riding it. I'd rode up off an off-trail track onto a track that was transversing it, and it was dipped in the middle, and I had to try and turn around, so I went forward to go up the bank one side to let the inertia roll it backwards, and as I canted it round to turn left on the back end, I went to put my foot down to steady it, and of course I was in a dip both ends, and there was no way of getting my foot to the ground, and the bike slowly capsized onto the luggage and the bags on the front, causing no damage whatsoever, didn't even leave any marks. But yeah, I was quite aware that I had to get it in a different position. I had to get it in first gear so it didn't roll. I then had to get the bike lifted with all the luggage on, and it took some doing, I can tell you guys. I got it up, but I was huffing and puffing afterwards. So yeah, that's a real factor to bear in mind if you're going to do serious off-roading with this. It's a big bike to lift up. With all the luggage on, you're way up in the 255 or more, depending on what you've got in that luggage, especially with the tool rack on like I've got under the luggage. So you're north of 255 kilos anyway. And the little Voge Rally is 158 I believe, so yeah, definitely a good near enough 100 kilos less, so you can understand why that most people like to use that style of bike to get out and have a bit of fun off-road. Now, whilst using that, on another note, you can see in front of me I've got the Carpia Ride, the 702, and this has been a faultless unit. It really has been good. I use it on 3 maps, OSM maps, on online street maps, offline street maps, I should say, which you can get the free version, or you can pay for a paid plus version to get a few extras. It's not much a year if you get the plus version, definitely worth paying for it. I have that because they show all the trails and all the routes that other people have done, so that's a really handy map. I use Google Maps and I use Waze, and I use Waze because Waze gives a lot more information on problems on the road ahead, and I find it a lot nicer interface, although Google own Waze and Google have implemented the speed you're doing and the speed limit similar to what you can see on the screen now. So yeah, why I've mentioned that is that on the little Voge 300 Rally, I've been using my phone on the bike in a phone holder rather than put an Android Auto or a CarPlay device on there at the moment. But I've started researching using tablets, and I find the idea quite attractive. Now, the problem with tablets, a lot of people are using their Tab 3 Active, and that's a robust tablet that's waterproof. You can drop it on the ground. It's really tough. It's designed for rugged outdoor use or commercial use. The problem with those, you can pick up second hand for a couple of €100, and then you're getting into copyright territory. But the added advantage of using a tablet is that you can take it off the bike, you can use it for other things, you can make notes. If you were to go camping, you've got a tablet with you that's on the bike, so if you're in your room at night or in your tent and you want to watch some Netflix or whatever you want to do, you want to watch some videos or edit some videos you've shot on your GoPro or your DJI, you have got an option then to get them onto a hard drive and view them on an Android tablet via a cable. So very handy little thing to have. And looking through all the ones that are available on AliExpress and different places, at the moment I've been looking at Oukitel, I think it's the R3 Pro, and the price has come right down now. It's running Android 14, it's not the latest 15, but the tech on it's quite okay. It's a good tablet, it's got some great reviews, and you can get that now, I believe, for €179. Now, on top of that, you're going to need a mount for it, and a few people make mounts for them. A lot of people make mounts for the active Tab 3 because people are using that specifically as a navigation device. So yeah, I think I may order one of them and go down that route and try it. Now, if that's successful, I may have a mount on each of my bikes, and I might even do away with the CarPlay. I don't know, it depends. The thing with the CarPlay, you're constantly linking your phone to it, and if you have a standalone tablet, you can have that doing all your stuff that you want. You can have it linked to your helmet just the same, and yeah, it would be an handy addition. So I'm going to explore that route, and I'll get a video out on what I think about it and how it functions. Now, the only drawback with all of these tablets that are basically tablets is the screen brightness, and I believe the Tab 3 Active and the Oukitel R3 Pro, they're both native at about 490, 500 nits, which is not overly bright, but they will boost up to about 650, I think. So with our bright sun in Spain, it's quite hard at sometimes to actually see what you're seeing on screen, but the screen on the CarPlay is by far the brightest screen I've seen on any vehicle screen. Bearing in mind this is made specifically for motorbikes and nothing else. So if I go on here now, we go into the settings. If we get into settings, if it'll play, and we go exit there, and we should be able to look at the brightness, and you can see I'm on max brightness there. It's not on auto, so max brightness in the sunshine here is quite readable and easy to see. So I would imagine that the Galaxy would be somewhere around there. Again, visible while I'm under shade, but if you go out in bright sunlight and it's on the screen, maybe not as much. So we'll give it a go, and I'll get back to you on that one and let you know my thoughts about using it as a navigation device, and also a playbook where you can turn it into portrait and have some turn-by-turn mapping on that way as well. So guys, another video just going on thoughts and what's happening, the weather in Spain, my bikes, and just a general vlog, but some useful information for you guys, so the bike's running, etc. You can see now that normally I would be getting back and the fan would be kicking in before now. It would go up to the next notch. With the 4.7 update it runs quite cool. No doubt it will kick in a minute, but normally it would be up here and it'd be kicking in straight away on the 4.4 and certainly on the 4.1. Yeah, so guys, I'll love you and leave you. I'll leave the video there. Subscribe to the channel, guys. I'm going to make some videos. I've had lots of nice suggestions of what you want to see. Someone suggested doing a setup of the car pure ride again, and I'll do that. I've got a mount coming. Well, it's actually been delivered to an Amazon hub, so there's a new mount for this to get this car pure ride back in the original position before I put the Uncle Wang mount on, and that will take us down a bit and get it more down where it was before. But yeah, we'll try this tablet route and see how we get on. On a quick note of stats, guys, that I'll slip in at the end of the video before I sign off. You can see at the moment I'm 10 kilometers under 5,000 kilometers. Bearing in mind I'm using 3 or 4 of the bikes, so I'm using all the bikes. The new Voge that is just buried over the side under the cover next to the Moto Guzzi, I've already done 500 kilometers on that. I've done a couple of thousand on the Super Meteor, and again we've done a fair bit on the Moto Guzzi over the other side. But what I wanted to point out quickly to you guys is the fuelage I'm getting. This is combined fuelage, and you can see in this ride I've just been on, I've been riding in sports mode, but I'm still getting 4.4 litres to 100, and that's combined with my wife on the back pillion most of the time in sports mode with luggage. So I believe 4.4 is roughly a UK gallon, and that's doing 100 kilometres, which is roughly 66 miles. So in imperial UK figures, I'm getting about 66 combined miles per gallon out of the 900. So not bad, guys, eh? So yeah. Anyway, peace out, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Ride safe.